Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am sorry for not uploading very much. I was moving houses, but I moved in now, so hi, I'm ready. But I do have a really good video for you today, if I do say so myself. This video is sponsored by Notion, and kind of amazed I'm saying that because I love Notion. I have been using Notion for around a year, and I'm not just saying this, it actually did completely transform my approach to medical school and the way that I make notes. Thank you, Notion, for changing my life. Not clickbait, nearly died, life-changing experience. But let me just share my story. I'm gonna call this the tragic story of Soony and his tragic note-taking in his early years of medical school. I used to make Word documents for each lecture. Bear in mind that there was like 20 lectures a week, and there was like, what, I don't know, 30 plus, there was like 500 plus lectures, I think. So I would just have a Word document for each lecture where I had mashed down what the lecturer was saying, like trying to keep up. Or I would download the lecture slides as like a PDF and annotate them through the lecture. This ended up with me having like literally hundreds and hundreds of random documents, and obviously because I just couldn't be bothered, I would never organize them properly. So in the end, I would not really go over most of these things, and I would just try and find someone else's notes that they'd shared. It's kind of embarrassing, like I was kind of a mess. But I think that was kind of what everyone was doing back then. I had a feeling that what I was doing wasn't effective, but I just didn't know what else to do. So I continued doing that for, I'm gonna say like two years, maybe 3 years. Not a good use of time really. But then Notion came along and it changed my life. If I could summarize Notion, I'd say that it is a way of organizing your life. You can use it for like education like I do, but you can also use it for like finances, idea planning. I think honestly, anything that needs text to be stored somewhere, Notion is really, really great. You can download the app, or you can just go to their website and log into your account, which is free. And then everything is stored like in the cloud, so you can access your notes from anywhere as long as you log into your account. But I'm going to share with you guys how I make my medical school notes now, and hopefully this is helpful. I think this would have really helped me. And then I kind of copy and paste that list over, and then I split things into each module and topic, and I then make a page for every single for medicine condition that I need to learn. So for example, if I go to my notes from last year and I go to my module A notes and then into acute, you can see these are the list of my core conditions that I need to learn. So for each core condition, I'll make a page, and then I will write my notes into each page. And then to actually write the notes, I will split them into a brief summary of what the condition is, any symptoms that you have with the condition, how you diagnose the condition, what investigations you do, and then like the management options. And the way that I find that information is through lectures, through online resources, so that could be Google searches, like YouTube videos, or like medical revision websites like Geeky Medics. I then find that a really key way of learning things and making notes is through doing question banks. When you get questions wrong, it shows you what you don't know, and then you can use that to add to your notes. I also use like websites that actual doctors would use to look up conditions, so things like BMJ best practice, sometimes even just the NHS website. But I do find that with lectures, you will be guided through like the key concepts, and you can use that to like build the bones of your notes. I basically do that for every single topic. It's really useful if you actually do this alongside your time on that rotation. So for example, if I am on rheumatology, I should be making my rheumatology notes at the same time. This helps you to like stay on top of your work and to understand what's happening during the rotation, but it also saves time later when you should be revising this content rather than making it for the first time, or learning it for the first time. Some of Notion's functions that I really like are just how easy it is to organize your notes. It's so clear and it's so easy to navigate. I remember in the past, like if I wanted to find something, if it was on paper and I'd handwritten it, no chance, like that was gone. I was never gonna find the information. If it was on a Word document, I'd have to like go through all the Word documents or try and find the lecture that it was in. It was so messy. And if it was in someone else's notes, I hadn't written those notes, so I wouldn't really, although I could use it to learn information, I wouldn't really understand where things were or the thought process behind those notes being made. So it was harder to like kind of get into the zone and fully go through the notes. Does that make sense? I think when you actually write your own notes and you organize them yourself, which is really easy to do with Notion, you just are a lot more engaged with your notes and you kind of understand where things are. Another one that honestly is another lifesaver is the search function, because you can search like a word and it will show you every single page that word is used. So for example, if I just suddenly remember that there is this condition that has this characteristic cobblestone appearance and I just don't know what it is, and if you actually try to Google it, it might be a bit longer or a bit harder to find the actual thing. But if you know in your notes you did write about this somewhere, just type in cobblestone and you will find the exact page, the exact condition, and you'll be refreshed of the content because you wrote that. Another thing I really like is because Notion is so easy to navigate, it saves so much time. You can not only click through each module and each topic so easily, you can also link to other pages. Say you're looking through your notes on anemia and then you go to the management of one of the conditions and it is blood transfusion. Instead of having to like search a blood transfusion or go back and navigate to blood transfusion, you can just link to your page on blood transfusions and that will instantly take you to that page. It's just these little things that are so satisfying, like when you click blood transfusions page and it takes you straight there. You're just like, wow, that's so efficient. Another thing that I like about Notion is that you can share pages with other Notion users. This was really useful if I ever thought that I might have missed something out or I didn't really understand a topic. I could just go to their notes and kind of, look at what they'd written and even copy and paste from there sometimes. It was really useful. Another function I like is how easy it is to copy and paste images from Google and also just screenshot and like literally drag the screenshots straight into the document. It's also really easy to format and sort of drag images around or drag text into different sections. But because I use Notion for the entirety of my last year of medical school, I now have this like really solid, nice set of notes that I still use now. So even though I'm on completely different rotations this year, if there's ever a topic that like comes back up, so for example like cardiovascular things are very common, I will just go back to my notes from last year, and because I wrote those notes and I organized them myself, it's so like, I don't know, it's kind of has a place in my brain and it just is so much easier to remind myself of things, which I don't think would happen if I was using like disorganized, like chaotic notes or just using random Google searches. I think this way, having your own like complete, clean set of notes is really helpful, even for the long term as well. Sorry to keep talking about the past, but before in medical school, sometimes I would find like a really good diagram or like a really nice image that like explained things really well. I'd put it into a Word document and be like, yes, I'm gonna come back to this, I'm gonna find it. I would never find it again. It would be gone, it would be lost into the ocean. So that is how I make my notes for medical school. I hope that was helpful. I wish that I had this app earlier on, but at least I have it now. Even for things not related to medical school, I still use Notion. So for YouTube ideas, I will jot them down into Notion. For finances, I will use Notion for that sometimes as well. You can use it to like completely plan your life with like tables and calendars and checklists, but you can use it for as little or as much like life planning as you want. And honestly, Notion could like, you could put your entire life into Notion to organize it and it'd be very handy. And it's honestly very easy to use for school and note taking. So if you are a student, because I know most of you guys are, I would really recommend trying it, especially if you're struggling with your own note-taking method or you're a bit confused with how best to do it. Try Notion and I'm pretty confident that you guys will like it. If you do want to download Notion, you can click on the link in my bio and try it out, and it's free, so there's nothing to lose. Avoid paper, unless you really like it, but avoid paper otherwise, because loose sheets and things will just go missing. It's so hard to find things. Notion is great, I promise.